So I consider, in the universe of moral crimes, eavesdropping to be more of a misdemeanor than a felony. Now, I have to say this because for 17 years, while I was getting pedicures, I eavesdropped on Vietnamese nail ladies. Now, for those of you who have never had a pedicure, I gotta say, it's one of the most luxurious things you can do for yourself because you have someone massage and wash your feet and paint your toenails. But it's also one of the most awkward things that you can buy for yourself because you have a perfect stranger, usually a very recent Asian immigrant who speaks very little English, wash your feet, massage them, and then paint your toenails. And it's so awkward, as a matter of fact. There's like this old TV show called Seinfeld, and there was an episode about it where Elaine, one of the characters, goes to a Korean nail salon, and her feet get made fun of by the Korean ladies who are speaking in Korean and pointing and laughing at her feet. And ever since I saw that episode, I was like, I'm Vietnamese. Maybe I can just listen. So that's what I did for 17 years. So what I would do is go and for the first 5 or 10 minutes, I would just, listen. And I know everybody wants to know, are they talking about clients? Are they talking about me? And the answer is no, not really. I mean, I heard a whole lot of nothing. I heard, what are you having for lunch today? Or, oh God, my kid watches way too much YouTube. The most interesting thing I heard was my cousin in LA did Kim Kardashian's nails, and she has the most beautiful rich person skin. And I would listen to this for a while, and then all of a sudden go, ôi giời ơi, chị là người Việt à? Em cũng là người Việt, which is, oh my God, are you Vietnamese? So am I! And everyone would just start awkwardly laughing. I would start awkwardly laughing because I have to pretend to be so stupid that I didn't understand anything they said for the last 10 minutes. And they would be awkwardly laughing because they were probably thinking, God, did I say something weird? And this worked great for 17 years until one day, one year my friend Kathy decided to buy me a pedicure for my birthday. So we chose a new place, and she came first, and I was running late, and I came in all flustered. I didn't know what color to get, and I didn't know what treatment to get. I didn't want to get the most expensive one because she was paying for it. When this one lady busts out saying, "Ôi giời ơi, cái con này muốn cái gì?" Which is, oh my God, what does this girl want? And then her friend goes, "Chị không thấy hả? Nâng cái con trắng này lên, con trắng muốn cái gì? Chị cho nó đi." Which is, can't you see? She puts this white girl on the pedestal. Whatever the white girl wants, just give it to her. Right? I was oh my gosh. And so many people who've heard this story ask me, oh my God, Amy, so then did you say something back in Vietnamese? Did you totally stick it to them in Vietnamese? And the answer is no. First of all, because I hate conflict. And I am not good at quick comebacks. So the best comeback I could possibly think of was your mama nông con trắng này. It just doesn't really work. But the real reason that I didn't say something back is because every time I get a pedicure, I feel a little guilty. Because, you see, my family came over to the United States April 1975, first wave of Vietnamese refugees when I was a baby. And we were so lucky to get out of this country because my father was a colonel in the South Vietnamese army, and if we hadn't gotten out, he would have been killed, for sure. And whenever I went to a nail salon, I kept thinking, wow, these must be the people who didn't get out in 75. These were the families who were not so lucky, and it was really only a twist of fate and a lot of love that I'm the one sitting, getting the pedicure, and not kneeling at my feet giving the pedicure. Because, those last frenzied days of Saigon were so crazy, and we didn't know whether we wanted to stay or go. And my parents, who were my age at the time exactly, didn't want to go. Why would you want to leave your country and be a refugee? They were leaving their friends. They were leaving their family. They were leaving everything they knew. My father had a good job. My mother owned 2 pharmacies. Why would you want to go? And they kept putting it off and putting it off. And then one of my mom's friends, Golan, said, who was married to an American and was evacuating the next day, said, no, you have to come. You have to at least bring the kids and yourself. And my mom realized that it was true. And Golan had so much love for my mom because she was allowed to bring her family, but her family was 50 miles outside of Saigon. And some of you guys know 50 miles in a war country could be 10,000 miles. There was no way her parents and brothers and sisters were gonna make it. So Golan wanted to save somebody. So she saved us. So the next day, we went with the clothes on our backs into a C-130 American airplane. Like so many Afghans went into C-130 airplanes from Kabul airport last year. That was us from Tanzania. And my dad, he couldn't go because he was in the army and he had to finish things up. And he had to burn papers or do whatever he had to do to save his men. And 2 days before Saigon fell, he got onto one of the last helicopters flying off of the roof of the Defense Attaché office. And I'll tell you something about my dad. My dad's a short guy. He's like 5 foot tall. And he managed to cram his way onto this overly full helicopter that went up and then came back down. And it came back down because there were too many people in it. And these big American Marines on the roof, they started reaching their hands in and pulling out random people. But my dad, the short guy, he crammed himself into the corner of the helicopter. And that's how he got out of Vietnam. And that's how we eventually reunited a month later in a refugee camp in Arkansas. And I gotta tell you, when we came to the United States, we were so poor, we didn't have a penny. We slept on the floor for the first 6 months of our time in America. My brothers and sisters slept in sleeping bags. Baby me, I slept on a mattress on the floor with my parents, which is why I am happy every single day I come to work at Homes Not Borders, because we provide apartments and fully furnished apartments for refugees so that they don't have to do the same that we did. And you would think that our story is so sad, but that's not the story that my mom told me. This is not the story that my parents told me while we were growing up. The story was how lucky we were to get out of Saigon, how lucky that my father's alive. And my mom used to tell me, Amy, if we hadn't gotten out, you would have never known him. And you would have never had this perfect American English that you're now speaking, and the American university education you have, or the American professional job that you have. You might be selling something on the street at this point. You might be selling yourself on the street. And so that's why I never said something back to these nail ladies, because I was thinking, gosh, these are the people who didn't get out. But then another thought came, which is like, but what do I know? I mean, they're here now. And if there's anything that I learned from eavesdropping on them for 17 years is that they have lives just like me. They were able to get over here, they have jobs, they have dreams, and like their children are getting educations and their children are having better lives. So who am I to say what defines lucky? And as these thoughts were like swirling in my head, the pedicure was over and Kathy was paying, and I thought, okay, like that's it. But then suddenly, the salon owner notices that we're new and comes over to us and he says, hey, how you doing? How is pedicure? You like it? And then he looks at me. He's like, oh, hey, how are you doing? Where are you from? Man, there I was, busted, after 17 years. I didn't know what to say. And then I thought, Amy, the truth, it'll set you free. So I go, oh, I'm from Houston. It's a town in Texas. Thank you.
Way to go! Way to go!